Hi everyone. I want this channel to be a place where I share things that are genuinely helping me to improve my life in my mid 30s. Just real practices that I've been collecting, applying for years, and new practices that I'm incorporating into my life now. So there will be things from psychology, from spirituality and religion, from yoga, from experiences, and simply from making mistakes and learning from them. Basically, these are things that help me to build a good mindset, healthy relationships, and enjoyable life. And one of the practices I started recently is called silence. And I learned about it from a psychologist. The idea is simple. You choose one day a week where you reduce as much as stimulation and external input as possible. No scrolling, no social media, no YouTube, no podcasts, no shorts, no WhatsApp chats, and ideally even speaking less with other people. And I know that it may sound extreme, but trust me, it's very powerful. Basically, for one day, you stop constantly inserting other people's thoughts into your mind. Think of it as closing all the tabs, not only on your phone, but in your head, most importantly. And honestly, I think modern people desperately need this practice now because we live in an extremely distracting environment, and our attention is constantly being pulled somewhere. There are hundreds notification messages that we receive daily, videos, reels, news, and algorithms today are incredibly aggressive. Their entire job is to keep us emotionally attached to our phones as much as possible. Honestly, I think that many of us forgot what mental silence even feels like. I also noticed that this becomes even stronger when you are single because your phone becomes your companion. You eat while watching something, you shower while listening to something, you fall asleep watching videos, you wake up and first thing you do is to update your social media feeds and news. There's always some stimulation going on in the background. To be honest, the first time I tried this silence practice, I realized how overstimulated my brain had become because suddenly there was nothing distracting me from my own thoughts anymore. And that felt uncomfortable at first because I think many of us became so used to constant stimulation that silence almost feels unnatural state. We check our phones when we wake up, while eating, in transport, whenever we feel bored for even 2 seconds. And the scary part is that even good content becomes addictive because we convince ourselves we are being productive. I'm learning, I'm improving myself, I'm watching this educational content. But honestly, sometimes we are just consuming all day without applying any of the knowledge into our lives. And one of the things I realized about myself recently was actually very important. I think one of the reason I spent so many years constantly watching YouTube was because I was suppressing my own desire to create content. Deep down, I always wanted to start a channel myself because I genuinely like the idea of motivating people in a healthy way. And honestly, social media itself helped me a lot to expand my thinking and achieve my goals. There are creators and channels I genuinely admire, and watching them sometimes made me think, if this person managed to change their lives or build something meaningful, something that I want to have in my life, maybe I can do it too. Definitely, I don't think social media is evil. I think if you use it intentionally and in a smart way, it can become an amazing tool. It can educate you, it can inspire you, it can push you to grow. But I think the problem starts when consumption becomes unconscious and endless. Because instead of building your own life, you slowly start mostly observing everyone else's lives. And for me, I honestly don't smoke. I don't drink alcohol. I don't really have many destructive habits. But phone addiction and constant consumption of content has definitely been real for me for a long time. And I think people underestimate how much it affects their focus, their motivation, emotions, and even identity over time. Because when you constantly watch other people's lives, you slowly stop living inside your own. You compare yourself without even noticing. You start wondering, why are these people ahead? Why is their life more exciting? What do people think about me? Like when I post this story. And I think after consuming too much content, sometimes I would genuinely feel like everything had already been done before me. There, there was nothing original left for me to create. And all these tiny thoughts slowly drain my energy. That's why this silence practice became so powerful for me. Because after sitting in silence long enough, your brain slowly becomes quieter. You finally start hearing yourself again. Your real thoughts, your interests, your actual goals. Like you remember dreams that you forgot about. And honestly, one realization I had was this: the pressure to constantly be online is not actually real. Nothing happens if you disappear for a day. Nobody dies. The world moves on normally. And weirdly, that feels very freeing. And what surprised me most was how quickly I felt the difference once I stepped away from constant stimulation. Even after half a day without checking my phone, my mind felt calmer, like everything slowed down in the best possible way. Suddenly, I had more time, more mental space again. And I stopped constantly consuming and finally started doing things I've been postponing for months because I kept saying, oh, I don't have time for it. Like simple things, completing my tax declaration or finally booking my next trip or organizing things I had been avoiding. And honestly, it made me realize how much mental energy constant stimulation quietly steals from us every single day. And now, after these silence days, I sometimes unfollow accounts that I don't genuinely care about, and people I no longer connect with, channels I never watch, and content that only creates noise or comparison. And because I started thinking about this almost like mental hygiene, the same way we clean our homes and bodies, our minds need such recharge and cleaning too. Slowly, my relationship with phone started changing. If I'm bored, I sometimes play chess instead of scrolling. And I started creating content instead of consuming content. And honestly, creating content feels different. It gives you energy instead of draining energy. And again, I don't think social media is evil. I'm literally creating content right now. But I want to create content that genuinely helps people to improve their lives, not just mindless dopamine entertainment. For me, this silence practice became almost like a reset for my brain, for my mind, a way to step out of the noise for a moment, to stop constantly consuming other people's opinions, their lifestyles, their thoughts and emotions. And instead, I ask myself, what do I actually think? What do I actually feel? What do I want? What kind of life feels right for me? And what do I need to do to achieve this life? Because I think many people aren't disconnected from themselves forever. It's just that they are overwhelmed by constant input. If you want to try this practice, choose one day, ideally once a week. Give a small heads up to your close people and just go quiet for a while. No scrolling, no videos, no endless consumption of other people's thoughts. Just spend some time observing your own mind. Maybe write your thoughts down. Go for a walk, eat well, sit with yourself a little longer than usual. And honestly, even that small shift can change a lot. Please try and let me know how it feels and what do you think about this practice.